if you went back to the 19th century, there wouldn't have been anybody on the frontier that would not have been aware of the Welsh being here. And if you look at geography books and history books previous to 1900 published in America, they will list all these people. They will list Vikings. They will list the Welsh. They will list the Phoenicians. They'll list everybody that was coming along. After 1900, that disappeared from the textbooks.
Hello, so here we are, Ross from Britain's Hidden History, and you'll recognise with me the wonderful Mr. Lee Pennington. So it's very good to see you, Lee. How's it going over there?
Ross.
Excellent. So remind me, whereabouts in America are you at the moment?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky is literally the heart of America. If you will look at all the United States, you'll see that right in the middle is Kentucky. And if you look at all the ancient rivers east of the Rockies, you can get to Kentucky from any place in the east of the Rockies, because some river will lead you down and then into Kentucky. Kentucky, next to Alaska, has the longest water shoreline of any state in the Union. So Alaska has the most, of course, but Kentucky, because of their rivers inland and bordering Kentucky, they have the longest linear waterways of any state besides Alaska. So
I never knew that.
Kentucky is my late friend, the writer Jesse Stewart, said Kentucky is the heart of America, and I kind of go along with that. It's in the right place. But in the ancient times, no matter where you started, you could wind up in Kentucky, and I'm sure many people did.
Yeah, is it was it the Ohio? Are there other major rivers there then? I don't know the geography too well.
You got the Ohio River. The whole northern border of Kentucky is the Ohio.
Right.
And then you've also got the Tennessee River coming in. You got the Cumberland River running across. On the east side, you got the big Sandy River running down in. So, and the native people in ancient times didn't think of the Ohio going to the Mississippi and then to New Orleans. They considered it one river from roughly Pittsburgh all the way to New Orleans, or all the way to the Gulf.
Right.
Now we think in terms of the Mississippi coming down one way and the Ohio running into it. But
so where do they join exactly then?
at Cairo, Illinois.
Right.
The Ohio and the Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where the major Native American settlement was Cahokia. Cahokia, in its time, at the same time, had a much larger population than London. So
so that was a major native center.
Yes.
So do you think any? Sorry, this is we'll go straight in then. Really, I was going to start somewhere else, but I mean, this is. So would you say then, if we look at the Cymry migrations as well, they sort of kind of, if they're following these major rivers, they're bound to end up in Kentucky. Is that the way it works?
Well, we think they came probably into the Gulf area and came north in the rivers. The Tennessee River runs all the way down through Alabama, and you can get from the Gulf Coast all the way into Kentucky. It's a pretty simple trip, and that we have some ancient stones that appear to be map stones that appear to be those riverways, as though some people were using them specifically for that manner. I did a documentary called The Mound Builders, and
Yes, yes.
and I said that the waterways, the rivers were the ancient highways. There was so much forest at the time at so-called historic European contact. It's said that a squirrel could get in an oak tree on the East Coast and go all the way to the Mississippi without ever getting out of the tree. So it was, just massive forest all the way through. So the way you got around was the clear area, and that was the rivers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And funny enough, we've had Robert Langdon on the channel talking about in ancient Europe and Britain as well, the same thing would have happened. The rivers would have been the way to travel for similar reasons.
Absolutely. And the one thing you want to look at when you're trying to discover some ancient stuff, you got to look at the rivers. Look at the waterways and see what's happening there.
Mm. Yeah, you never find a major city without one, do you?
No. It's just if you didn't have a river, you couldn't transport, you couldn't trade, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah, a lot less likely to get lost on the river. They tend to go one way, don't they, with a few choices.
Yeah.
Wandering through a forest, anything could happen.
You had cities being built all the time that were built as a result of an obstacle in the river. For example, Louisville, Kentucky, where I live now, it is a city because there is a very rough area called the Falls of the Ohio. It's just water tumbling over stone, and you couldn't get by that going either direction without portaging on land. And so Louisville just became a natural, people getting off, and many stayed here, and the city developed here as a result of that. And you had that on a number of rivers around.
Yeah, God, thanks for that connection, because I've heard of the falls. I hadn't realized that was the same place. So it starts to put things in perspective, because is that where they're sent to? Because, I mean, you're the president of the ancient, I'm going to get it right this time, Ancient Kentucky Society?
Yeah.
Is that the correct title?
Yeah. We're located here in Louisville, so we have members, all over, but our meetings and all that are held here in Louisville. But it's we started out, as you know, with Jim Michael. He was one of the founders of the Ancient Kentucky Historical Association, and originally it was started out, he was following some of Barry Fell's work, Bronze Age in America, and some of those things. We were looking at any contact in the Americas, any pre-Columbian contact, including Native Americans, but it became focused, especially when Jim was president, more directly with the Welsh than any other group. And we still spend a good deal of our time, probably the majority of our time, researching the Welsh question and the Welsh contact on this continent. If you went back to the 19th century, there wouldn't have been anybody on the frontier that would not have been aware of the Welsh being here.
Wow.
But when you hit John Wesley Powell in the Smithsonian, head of the ethnology department, and his decree that no one other than Native Americans were on this continent before Columbus. I mean, he nailed that to the wall and nailed it hard.
Right.
And if you look at geography books and history books previous to 1900 published in America, they will list all these people. They will list Vikings. They will list the Welsh. They will list the Phoenicians. They'll list everybody that was coming along. After 1900, that disappeared from the textbooks. And so,
well, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's similar. Same here. If you got like books before 1700,
yep,
contain it. After 1700, they don't contain it.
yeah.
Do you have access to many of these pre-1900 books?
Well, I have some, yeah, and you know, they all say pretty much the same story. I mean, they all agree. As I say, in the 1900s or in the 19th century, I should say, the question of the Welsh being here was common knowledge, and there somewhere along the way became a movement that says that, you know, you're an idiot if you even talk about this kind of stuff. So,
Yes.
So I joined the idiot crowd pretty early.
Oh, there's all the best people out there. Don't you worry. What I mean, have you any idea what the motivation was? I mean, was it explained at the time why they did this?
No. There's never any explanation, but we think. I mean, we of the Ancient Kentucky group, we think it was John Wesley Powell. You know, strictly his comment. We've heard things like I heard it's secondhand knowledge to me. I didn't hear the archaeologist speak it directly, but I was told the archaeologist, a teacher told his students, if you find anything in any of the excavations that's European, that's pre-Columbian, bury it back. Crazy.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
I really struggle to get my head around this hiding of knowledge. I just don't, I'm a bit naive perhaps, but I still don't understand it.
No, it's not really understandable. I just recently posted a thing that I was directly involved with and still trying to figure out how they wound up here. But I posted a thing that said, or I had gone to visit a man who had found two different groups of Roman coins, and the Roman coins were usually in the 200s to the 400s, primarily in that area. But he found a total of 19 Roman coins along the Ohio River, very, very near here. But there have been Roman coins found all over everything east of the Rocky Mountains. It was Epstein who wrote the definitive article on ancient coins in America. And in that, he said that the reason that all these coins found were simply coins that were lost by collectors.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I pointed out in the article, I got a map and I worked out all of the places I knew where Roman coins were found and just put a star on the map.
Right.
So I could look at the map and get a graphic feeling of where things were. All the coastal finds, all the interior finds. 100% of the coins found are east of the Rocky Mountains. And I came up with a hypothesis that proved that there were no collectors west of the Rockies.
Yes, no coin collectors west of the Rockies. Yeah, it's a bit careless as well. I mean, if I mean, are there any extant collections on display in museums that people brought across with them, or did every single collection get lost? I mean, it seems very careless, doesn't it?
Well,
you got these almost 2,000-year-old coins, and people just lose them casually.
Yeah, and they always lose in about 80% of them fall in a particular time period. In the
right, there's no medieval coins or 1600s coins or something like that. It's always the very ancient coins.
Yeah, the ones that they're finding. Nobody loses the others. But you know, it's fascinating. I put this. One of the emperors, Roman emperors, that coin has turned up in about every spot that Roman coins have been found on this continent. is Claudius II. And I just put that up, and then there are messages coming back: pseudoscience, idiots, crazy, crazy one. And all I was doing was putting the coin up. I didn't say, didn't make any comment much about it. Just said, here it was found. I filmed the coin. I know the guy that found it. And
yeah, you're not making any claims how it got there or anything. You're just saying, look what we found. Yeah.
Yeah, but suddenly I fall in the category of pseudoscience and
yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a slightly similar thing with I said Robin Heath yesterday measuring a circle and stuff, and he said a remarkably similar thing to what you just said, because have the tape measures out and everything. You can measure the stones, and if you find the center point, you can prove it's an arc of a circle. And you can measure it with a tape measure, and it's 149.5 inches. Exactly the same as the Avebury stone circle. It is, Now, you can argue about why and who did it and when it was done and how old it is and everything. You say, but there's a tape measure. It is 149 inches. It's the same as the Avebury circle. And you can't dispute that, That's just like you finding a coin. This is just physical evidence. It's
yeah, that's all. That's all. We're doing some heavy research on those Roman coins. I think the Roman coins are pretty important because, everybody thinks in terms of Roman being Rome and Italy, but, all of Europe almost, any place the Roman Empire was, including Britain, coins were minted and distributed and traded and used. And then there were also, even after the Roman Empire, especially the western part of the empire, collapsed, many of the coins were still used in trade. They still had value. And so the only thing you can say, if the coins found that they have dates and they can be identified, the only thing you can truly say is that they had to get here after they were minted.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But the whole thing is that they appear to be so many of them in that period of around late 200s in toward 400 AD. Now there are different coins and found at different ages that cover pretty much everything, but the majority, 80% of them, fall into that category. Now,
that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did they come here during that time period, or as somebody suggested on our website, that many of the people, including the Welsh, hoarded some of these coins, and they turned up much later, hundreds of years, 200, 300, 400 years later, even though the dates of the coin was much earlier. So we're looking into that, and who knows where the research will go. I say, put all the facts on the table, put all the data on the table, and
and then try to work it out. Don't start with the answer and then look at the evidence. Yeah, this is the problem. A lot of the time, the answer is decided at, and then before the evidence comes along, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because something might feed into that. I mean, with some Alan Wilson's other work is looking at like you said, the Roman Empire is quite a fluid thing, and a lot of that period you're describing, Britain would have been a separate member of this sort of trading empire, or would have controlled the
one
there's a good chance they'd have had a lot of their coins from all the trade that was going on, isn't there? So,
yeah, and very definitely so. In Britain, there was a Roman legion, the 9th Legion, which just disappears from the face of the earth. And they were in Britain probably 100 years or more. And we have a member of our group, Rick Osmond, who has written a book called the graves of the golden bear. Of course, the golden bear being
sorry, I didn't quite catch that. It's called the what? Sorry,
the graves
oh,
of
graves,
the golden
right?
bear, and it's the golden bear. Of course, is Arthur, King Arthur, and
Okay.
but anyway, Rick has been doing research on the fort kind of structures that the Ninth Legion built in Britain and Europe, and the forts that we find here in the Americas. And along the waterways, Rick has found what he thinks are almost identical forts. And so if you have the Legion disappearing, and it does, and then there's one of the main, you never hear the Ninth Legion again. It's gone from the face of the earth.
Yes, yes.
They had been in Britain 100 years, so by that time, there probably was no one from Rome in that legion. Everybody in that legion would have been
locally recruited. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So they would have all been the Brits.
Good point.
And suddenly, I mean, not suddenly, 35 years later, one of the top people in that legion winds up getting an appointment as a governor along the Silk Road. I mean, the most posh position you could ever have in your life.
Right.
I mean, he made a fortune because everybody going or coming through the Silk Road
got to pay their tax.
Had to pay the taxes to him. And Rick was saying, wait a minute, why does he just show up 35 years later unless
gets the plum job? Yeah.
Unless he did something incredibly important from the Roman perspective. And so we're trying to figure out exactly what that is. There was a movie made.
So can I just say that you're suggesting that there would have been some sort of journey or exploration to America, possibly in 3rd or 4th century, something like that as well? Is that what the last? Oh, right, okay, exciting.
Yeah, Alan said to me in one of our conversations, and I don't know the record. You can ask him; he may be able to pop it right out to you as he usually does. But he said the migration of the 6th century. He said there's a record that say they were following the ancients.
Okay.
And so I've kind of left that an open.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, we seem to have this idea that it's a strange thing with a mindset to me, because you've got on the one hand someone like Alexander the Great in history, who's supposed to have walked with a foot army all the way from Macedonia down through and then all the way across to India, a few thousand miles on foot, which would have taken years and been incredibly difficult to achieve, and over the over the mountains, all these kind of things. And yet, the idea of a British army marching from Wales to Scotland is impossible, or boats, like you said, the boats are the key. Sailing around the coastline, or the journey to America is not that incredibly difficult, is it? I mean, you have people these days rowing it and stuff, don't you?
It's the wrong mindset. The ancient Greeks called the ocean they called it the sea road. Now, if it hadn't been a road, they would have called it the sea wall.
Right.
But the sea was enormously traveled. I don't know if you've ever seen the boats that Christopher Boy was supposed to have come to America in.
Right.
Which he never did quite reach America.
No, that's another myth as well, isn't it? You only got to the West Indies, whatever. Yeah,
got some of the outer islands and sort of Central and South America, but he never did. He never did reach the North American continent at all. But that's okay. I mean, but those boats they were tiny. I mean, you're talking 30 or 40 people. You got a pile of people,
Yes.
filling up those boats.
Extremely cramped, yes.
And even the Chinese back in ancient times had a boat that took 900 sailors to man.
Yes.
Now, I mean, are you kidding
Admiral
me?
Zhao, isn't it? Something like that, Zhao?
Yeah.
I think his name is, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the ocean was an open highway, the superest of highways, and there was never the problem crossing that ocean that the authorities have placed on it. They said, no, you can't do that. One thing, people who were coming, and people came to this continent, people did mining on this continent. The copper mines in Upper Peninsula of Michigan and up on Isle Royal.
Right, yes.
Between 7,000 BC and 5,000 BC and 1,200 BC, mined 1 billion pounds of copper. 1 billion pounds.
Amazing, isn't it?
Engineers have said they took at least this much copper out of there. Now, we can account for 20,000 pounds of that 1 billion pounds. Now, where in the heck did the rest of it go?
Yes, where indeed did it all go? And this is one of the questions that will be addressed in the next video, where I chat more with Professor Lee Pennington and find out amazing information about Michigan copper, which I'm sure you'll really enjoy. So please remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you hit the notification button, you will get a notification when that video goes up, which will hopefully be very soon. So until the next time, Heddwch.